Time now for Built for Success, presented by Ram Trucks. Let's look at an ACC-SEC matchup. Number 6, Missouri, hosting number 24, Boston College. Eagles entering the AP Top 25 for the first time since 2018. Coach Bill O'Brien has already called Mizzou the best team they'll play all season. He's probably not wrong. Meanwhile, the Tigers have yet to allow a point through 2 games this season. That's a first since 1935. We're going to see how BC responds as it heads to Cola, where Mizzou has won 18 straight home games. You're going to think about top 10 teams in the SEC, and if you catch a casual on a bad day, you're going to be like, they're going to be like Georgia, okay, Bama.
Don't forget Ole Miss.
Okay, they're going to say, no, they probably wouldn't say Ole Miss.
What about Texas?
They would probably not know that Texas is even in the SEC. So I guess my point is the SEC is so deep that they can have a top 6 team in Missouri. Total afterthought through 2 weeks of the season.
Which is so funny, too, that the SEC is so deep and they're basically occupying half of the top 10. And yet, because South Carolina right now has the only conference win, they are atop of the Southeastern Conference. Who would have guessed, and I know we're only going into week 3 of the season, that this BC versus Missouri would be the only ranked matchup because K-State and Arizona are playing later tonight. But the fact that BC versus Missouri is a good game to begin with.
Yeah.
Everybody knew that Missouri was going to be good. They won 11 games last year. Eli Drinkwitz had these guys playing. They are a sneaky pick to potentially even win the SEC.
Sure.
But Bill O'Brien, right, going now back to the collegiate ranks after staying up there regionally, offensive coordinator for the Patriots, he's got BC playing freaking well and playing confident so much so that this is a revenge game for the Tigers, who went up to BC a couple of years ago and got smacked in overtime.
Well, okay, neither team is prolific offensively.
Sure.
Right? Bill O'Brien's squad will take the air out of the football. They run the ball in 77% of their plays. They're also a top 10 team defensively.
Yep.
But you look at the schedule, for Mizzou to not allow a point through 2 weeks.
It's crazy.
It's a little more impressive. They played Buffalo last week.
Yep.
BC played Duquesne. You know, like BC went down to Tallahassee. They beat Florida State. That is an increasingly, or rather a decreasingly, impressive win with the way the Noles have been trending.
Buffalo, harder to play on the football field. Duquesne, harder to spell. How do you spell it?
There's an S in there somewhere.
Duquesne.
Is it Duquesne?
It'll catch you off guard.
Is it Duquesne's?
It'll catch you off guard. You think they're coming with the right, boom,
right. You
left
throw this
in the gut.
Duke, you throw this Duke, and then Ken's is coming around the other way, and you just got to get around it. For BC and Bill O'Brien, listen, you and I have worked in Boston. I still live up outside that area. It's an area that doesn't really care about college football unless you have to grab that city by the neck and say, hey, we got to top. Matt Ryan did it. That was about the last time.
And right now,
Luke
Kuechly. And right now is the opportunity to do that because, yes, New England went on the road in Cincinnati and upset the Bengals. But right now
this man
would be the time for Bill O.B. to actually make BC one of the more prominent teams to root for right now in Boston, because it certainly ain't the Red Sox. And yes, a lot of people who join us on SportsCenter think the Patriots are going to occupy the number 1 overall pick in this coming draft. Probably not anymore, since they got to win and the Giants look terrible and the Panthers look terrible. But anyway, back on track here. This shapes up to be a fantastic game, especially, too, what we're about to get into with Florida State supposing to win the ACC, and all of a sudden you got BC, you got Miami. They are who we think they were. So right now, the ACC, net positive.
Well, the ACC is up for grabs. Boston College is relevant through 2 weeks. They don't have to win this game. Boston College, you don't have to win this game. Just don't get embarrassed. Just don't get your doors blown off. Missouri is supposed to win this game. They're a top 10 team. They've played better opponents, whatever else. Brady Cook's a heck of a quarterback. I'm not saying Boston College doesn't have a good one in their own right, in its own right. But Missouri just, if BC can keep it close and not embarrass itself, we'll continue to view the Eagles as potentially an ACC candidate down the road.
We saw how pesky BC was on the road down there in Tallahassee, and they rattled DJ Uiagalelei, and they upset Mike Norvell's home season debut. And now with Missouri's 2 stud wide receivers kind of questionable going into this game with injury, listen, things are shaping up in BC's favor to not have to win this game, obviously with anything they do offensively, but just sort of remain stalwarts on the defensive end. They've already done so to a Florida State team who is obviously less of a high-power offense than we're going to see from Missouri.
And one thing to keep in mind, I know BC is on the road this week, and this was the week of 9/11, right? It's been 23 years since 2001.
Oh, Red Bandana.
BC has a tie. They play a game called the Red Bandana game. This won't be it because it's a home game. But Wells Crowther is a famous and heroic Boston College product and alumni. He played lacrosse there, saved 10 lives in the World Trade Center by getting people out. He was later identified. People told a story, survivors did, said, hey, I was saved by a guy who had a red bandana in his pocket, and then Wells Crowther's family was able to identify him that way because they knew that he always walked around and had one of those on him. And I just say all that to say, we have seen Boston College upset Florida State when Florida State was Florida State back in the day in the games surrounding 9/11. There's something special around this program. Bill O'Brien appreciates the history of the school, of the university, and of the area. And just sometimes intangible things factor into college football games. This game's going to be in Columbia. Mizzou is the better team. I can say that in the middle of September. I think the best story through 2 weeks, though, right now, is Boston College.
So Randy Scott, BC, that's who he's choosing. That's it.
Is that what's the number? What's the, if the
that I don't know, but remember last week I was like, BC's getting 17.5. I think I should hammer this, and then I forgot.
Against Florida State.
And then I forgot.
No,
could it have changed my life financially for the rest of it? Could I have been well off forever? Could I had the opportunity to not be here because I would have gained financial freedom had I hammered that with BC? Yes.
Yeah.
But instead, I forgot.
All we have are questions. We have no answers because you didn't put your money where your mouth was.
Yeah, that's true. I'll take the upset.